Hi there, this is Julia from I Dream of Sleep. I hope this video finds everyone all right. I just want to start off by telling you just a story. Several years ago, actually it's probably been about 8 to 10 years maybe, I went through a really bad bout of insomnia. And I've always had trouble falling asleep, but it just hit a wall there. I had gotten to the point where I didn't even want to go to bed because I knew all I was going to do was lay there. And I remember just sitting on the couch. It was probably like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, just watching TV, being exhausted, but not even bothering going to bed because I knew that, I was just going to lay there. And I got to the point where, there has to be something I can do. Sleeping pills didn't work, and I just decided to look for natural ways to sleep. And about this time, I read a book, and it was called, I got it written down here, it's been a while since I read it, Power of Speaking Positive by Joy Haney. And it talked about what you think in your mind and what you say out your mouth impacts you. What goes on in your mind is so powerful that we don't even realize how powerful it is. And I learned, and through the hard way, that by constantly thinking, I'm not going to be able to go to sleep. There's no sense in going to bed. I'm just never going to sleep again. It's just impossible. Don't even try. And I learned that you have to change your mindset, because when you start thinking, I can't sleep, it becomes like a self-fulfilling thing. It's like, well, I can't sleep. Well, your mind starts to think, well, I can't sleep. There's nothing I could do. And so you might think that's kind of weird, and you're like, yeah, whatever. But think about it, because like young girls, myself as a young girl, I was like 14, and I thought I was fat because, some kids at school or whatever said, oh, you're fat. I look at pictures of myself, and I'm like, I wish I had that problem now, because I was like a size 6. And I remember just looking in the mirror and just thinking, oh my gosh, I am so fat, and not eating because I didn't want to gain weight. And that planted in my mind, they might have planted a seed, but I ruminated on it and just kept thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so fat. I've got to do something. I've got to lose weight. And if that can have that effect, we all know that has an effect, as young women, when we were young. That's happened to, I would say, a large majority of women. We've all been there. And then, most of us look back and say, hey, there wasn't any problem with me. I look pretty good. And so I started kind of applying that to sleep. And I've been researching this since I started I Dream of Sleep as a blog. And there's even been a study about it. This is from the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine, and I'm just going to read it so, you can, I don't mess it up as far as quoting anything. And it talks about rumination, and rumination just means you dwell on it. You just constantly think about it. And so it says, evidence for rumination in those with sleep disturbance also is consistent with Harvey's cognitive model. This model asserts that the repetitive thought process seen at night, such as worrying about not sleeping, can occur during the day, such as thinking repeatedly about why you're feeling so tired, and that the activation of these thoughts and emotions are relevant to the insomnia process. And you're reflecting on the level of daytime fatigue after a poor night's sleep and feeling upset about it increases subsequent monitoring of evidence for consequences of poor sleep. Such a process increases the likelihood of perceiving such daytime symptoms, which is presumed to lead to increased distress about the insomnia problem and further perpetuates sleep problems. So what that's basically saying is you're constantly thinking of, I can't sleep all during the day. I'm just so exhausted because I don't sleep at night. But this is saying that, not for all people. I know there is some clinical reasons for insomnia. But for a lot of people, when you constantly think, I can't sleep, I'm just exhausted, I'm never going to sleep again, the more you ponder on it, the more you think about it, the worse your insomnia actually gets, and it doesn't resolve itself. And so basically the way I look at it is you're training yourself not to sleep. And so you're like, well, you know, how does that happen? So think about it. You know, do you say these things like, you know, if I don't fall asleep tonight, it's, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning, I've got 3 hours to get some sleep. If I don't get any sleep, I'm going to be a wreck. And, or I've got insomnia and it's just ruined my health, you know, all the way around. And why bother going to bed because I'm just going to stare at the ceiling? And it goes on and on and on. And when you constantly think about that, you're reinforcing your brain, you're reinforcing in your mind, in your brain, that I can't sleep, don't sleep. You're training yourself, don't sleep. And so, you know, what can you do to counteract that? Well, you have to start retraining your brain because you have talked to yourself for so long that sleep is impossible. You've got to convince your brain that, hey, you know, we're going to sleep and we can sleep. So whenever you start to catch yourself saying, oh, I've got insomnia, I can't sleep, I'm not going to sleep, you do positive sleep affirmations. So instead of saying, you know, I'm not going to get any sleep tonight, you know, I'm not even tired. So just say to yourself, well, no matter how much sleep I get tonight, tomorrow will be fine. And I can sleep. I can improve the quality of my sleep with just some basic sleep hygiene, and I'm going to do it. And, you know, I'm going to look forward to going to bed because it's going to be quiet and it's going to be relaxing. And, you know, it's just me time. And if I go to bed at my regular time, I'm going to sleep well tonight. And just keep telling yourself that. Every time a negative thought pops in, you replace it with a positive thought, even during the day. It doesn't have to be at night. And it will take a while. It's not going to be like, boom, you know, oh, I'm, you know, Miss Pollyanna, everything's great, I'm going to sleep tonight. It took a while for your brain to learn, I can't sleep. It's going to take a while for you to retrain your brain, I'm going to sleep. So think about that next time you tell somebody, oh, I'm insomniac, I never get any sleep. Or there's no sense going to bed because I'm just going to stare at the ceiling. So I want you to just take a moment and write down some sleep affirmations, something positive about sleep. And that way you have it on hand to look at whenever you have one of these negative thoughts come. And so that's my sleep tip for today. So I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.